From the west side of Chicago, it's the Greg Struss Show. I'm Scotty Joe Vegas, inviting you to stay tuned for the next 30 minutes as we discuss matters that are meaningful to you. Plus, topics! And now, Elmhurst, Man of the Year, Mr. Gregory Struss!
Yay, thank you, and welcome to the Greg Struss Show, coming to you from the west side of Chicago, and it's, of course, our answer to pay and play. Thank you. Now, do you understand how this whole pay and play thing is? But first of all, I want to welcome Scotty Joe Vegas back from the table. Where were you?
I was out swinging with swingers.
Really?
Yes, swinging.
And I'm so honored because as we were doing pre-production work here at Studio 688 here in Elmhurst, Aunt Jean came in, and I was like, Shasha! Oh, I'm sorry, Aunt Shasha! He's very territorial tonight. Do you notice that? Anyway, if I seem a little off kilter, it's not because I'm wearing a kilt, by the way, or that I'm even Scottish. It's that I was busy answering all my emails from Secretary Hillary Clinton. And for some reason, she emailed me, and they were deleted. I don't know. Can you answer that one for me? There's something going on here, and I don't know what it is, and I don't like it either.
There's something going on. There's something going on. There's something going on.
Okay.
Something going on?
We have to choreograph each thing up here. Do you like that? I don't know. Like when you're doing a show, you kind of want everything. I don't want to say that you want things perfect because it's never perfect.
You're kind of like a parent at a wedding that just wants everything to work out, and people shit your cornforflakes. I understand.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I never feel that way here, by the way.
Well, that's
No.
because we try. We try.
Yeah.
We do our best.
Of course, something like that. So anyway, summer is rapidly coming to an end. Are we all excited about this?
I am terrified.
Did you do, like every year you kind of think, oh, I'm going to go to the beach, I'm going to go to the pool, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then it never materializes, right?
16, I dry humped and did everything. Swear to God.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And where did you like to hang out? Because I don't think we did that.
Well, I was hoping for this weekend, but a lot of beach, a lot of camping, a lot of travel.
Yeah, so, this year has been all about the presidential election. And, boy, if you're like me, you're just kind of tired of, you want to cast your vote. You want it to be over with. And vote for the president, whoever that's going to be, of the Chicago Sanitation District. And, boy, that stinks. It's just as bad as, maybe it was the setup. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like Jimmy Kimmel. Well, He is great. I love Jimmy Kimmel, by the way. Anyway, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton continue to battle things out based largely on their ethical backgrounds, right? So rather than what their stances are on the issues, the concern for the American people, the American people that are chauffeured to work, that live in exclusive neighborhoods, that don't pay their fair share of taxes, of course, and their and their property taxes in these exclusive neighborhoods are typically more money than what the average American earns.
Yes.
Isn't that correct?
Correct.
And what is your take on that? Are you feeling that this is a negative thing?
I think she's just beating the bushes to get people excited about taxing the very wealthy, and it doesn't mean shit.
I don't know. I'm really thinking of sitting this one out. I don't know. And people are saying, well, you have a responsibility as an American to vote for that person. And I really don't know who I'd like to vote for.
I think Donald Trump would get you a job before Hillary would.
I do too. And
Yes.
I think Elmer Fudd would be good too because he always, was chasing after that wascally rabbit. And he proved it that he was able to follow through. I don't know if any of these people are going to be able to follow through.
Is that why on the back of a pig the tail's like this, where you can kind of follow it and go,
Whoops, something like that. Anyway, I really don't know what the point in all of this was. We are in an election year. In Asia, it's considered an erection year. See, we've done that about 4 or 5 times. We're going to put a montage. We're going to put a montage together, and I don't know. I envy you that you're able to travel because right now I've had a little bit of time that I could travel, but I feel like I get a little bit of anxiety whenever I leave home.
you're doomed.
Don't you think that's strange?
I just think that you got to take one step out, one after the other. Go out there and don't be isolated, because isolation will really...
I don't think it's an isolation thing. I think it's a comfort thing, that I like to feel comfortable.
I'm sorry. That's a part of isolation, is comfort. You're comfortable, isolated from everybody. You get to whack off when you want. You do everything else. I mean, that's what it is. Wow. I mean, how much family garden in wet stream can you whack off?
I would be really happy with a lawnmower right now that works. The grass is like up to here right now. And then people are like, well, you rent. You should have your landlord buy a lawnmower.
Yeah, I guess you come up this weekend, I give you a Craftsman.
Wow, I was thinking about that. Anyway,
okay.
We are here, even though it doesn't feel like it, we are here coming to you from Studio 688, hot summer of taboo topics. I think one of the great things that happened recently was this San Francisco 49 player, what's his name?
Kaepernick.
He decides to sit out the Star-Spangled Banner. I think this is a great taboo topic because it deals with not only a personal freedom, but also a public relations nightmare, I think. Because people that are in the public eye, unlike us, of course, are held to a higher standard. You know, they're held to a higher standard. There's a reason why
let's
people...
save it for that bit.
But I just want to introduce it a little bit. Public officials, people on TV, people in radio, people in, the vast mass media world are paid lots of money, paid handsomely because of their image. There's an image. So there's a social responsibility, all right? There's a reason why people can't just say and do what they want, right? In most cases, because they don't stay employed.
We are in a country where the majority rules.
Yeah. And if things are so bad, we're still blessed in the sense that we're able to be paid to do something, not me, but in a situation where people are able to do...
But we'll get to that.
But we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. I think that's good.
Because this is going to be a long topic.
Of course. And what is something else that came up? Oh, when you leave a job, and then the people call you back, and they're asking you, will you come back? Well, they haven't asked yet, but, there's just a little overture going on. Do you accept that job back, or do you just say, move on because it's the past? We're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm Greg. This is The Greg Show, and we are reinventing community television here from the west side of Chicago. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back in just a moment.
As you can tell, they're just as excited about this as I am. So we're going to go into the control room, and we're going to talk with them. Hi, everybody. This is okay. We'll shut the music off. And here we have Randy Draves right here. You want to wave, Randy? This is runs a videotape. Videotape is the tape that we record on. It's also the tape that's played back. Dan, you might want to help me explain this. You have all this technical input.
What do you want to know?
What does a VTR do? What does a videotape recorder player whatever do? Well, I mean the guy.
Well, actually, the VTR is an acronym for videotape recorder, Greg. And what that does actually records every image that goes out on the camera.
Thank you. And then
What about your back door? Oh, hi, welcome back. We were just having a conversation in between the break here.
Yes.
As we often, as Grandpa Clarence Struss would say, oftentimes would do. Greg Struss here back from Studio 688 North here at Xfinity Comcast. Well, actually, Xfinity is a separate side of Comcast, but we are out here at Studio 688 North in beautiful Elmhurst, or otherwise, as we know, the very far west side. I'd say we're like probably about 20 miles away from the extreme west side Chicago. And, of course, you can watch us not only on Xfinity Comcast, Channel 19, every Wednesday night here at 8 o'clock, but on YouTube.com with the search words Greg Struss Show. Now, you can also look up Scotty Joe Vegas.
Don't look up Scotty Joe Vegas because he didn't put anything new on there lately, but it's okay. Hey, look at me. Look at this light. Hey, I'm Christ-like.
You're a little soft.
I'm a little soft.
Anyway.
That is a problem I have.
Lots going on. It is the end of... We try to do this timeless, but we are never successful in doing things timeless.
Yes.
So what's going on with you? You just got back from where?
Out east.
Out east?
Yes.
And was it okay?
A lot of states look like Wisconsin there, and nice people, and, you from Jersey? I'm from Jersey. You from Jersey? I'm from Jersey.
Atlantic City?
No. Jersey Shore.
What is that? Jersey Shore?
That's where all the kids from that show, the Guidos and the Pedos and the Weewos. That was 100 years old, that
You
beach.
look like Bob Hope from the 60s.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you.
Of course. All right. So we were talking about a lot of different things during the presidential elections coming up. And have you made up your mind yet? Who you think you're going to vote for?
I made up my mind the first month.
Did you? And for some reason I've started vacillating because I'm like, And the Donald's been reading off the teleprompter. And I don't give it very long that he's going to start up. And that's what people want. They don't want the organized Donald Trump. They want him to speak the way he feels and...
I'm sorry.
Do you want to scratch the politics?
No,
and talk about
I
something
just,
else?
No matter what that man says, as Jim Baker says, he has had an outhouse thrown at him, and if he can make it through an outhouse, he can lead our country.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's Jim Baker, of course, the guy who I liked, and he's got a better wife now. He's over in Branson. But he's a guy who has his own show, who talks over everybody every once in a while, and they got to say, Jim!
Every time I've watched him, he's always accepting donations of food or something.
He's selling food. He sells food. He has a whole line of stuff that he sells. Yes, for Armageddon. Moving on to Kaepernick. Let's get on that Kaepernick. Are we doing table topics right now, or?
I thought we'd do that the next segment.
I'm sorry.
Or not.
Wow.
I don't even think it has to be a taboo topic. This football player for the San Francisco 49ers. All right, so they were getting ready to play the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. And Kaepernick, what is his first name? I cannot.
I know his name if we wouldn't.
Colin.
Yeah.
All right. Colin Kaepernick, who happens to be
a Muslim.
He is Muslim.
Yes.
So
that's what the brothers on the Bare Naked Truth Harvey Radio 1570 said, that they didn't talk about it that he's a Muslim yet. So that even his own kind was and they were mad at Jim Brown for not sticking up for him. So.
Okay, so let's put this story together here. They're getting ready to play the Star-Spangled Banner, and typically everybody stands for the Star-Spangled Banner. Well, this young man decided that he was going to sit it out because he doesn't, in his words, doesn't want to... Help me out here. He didn't
like the desecration of his own kind, of color. People of color in the way that America treats its minorities and stuff like that. That's a rundown of it.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of what it said here.
But what they said is in the Star-Spangled Banner, you take off the third verse, and if anybody sings the third verse of the Star-Spangled Banner, no black people would stand up because it's a defecation of slavery on the third verse. I swear to God. And on the Bare Naked Truth today, they were talking about that. The Reverend, and his name's Harold. Harold does a show down there. He'd be a good guest for you. And I'm telling you.
Personally, I think I gotta throw the BS flag on this.
I
got to throw the BS flag on this.
I'll put the challenge on there.
Okay.
Look it up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Regardless.
I'm sorry.
Okay. He has the right to do whatever he is, but he's an employee.
Absolutely.
He's an employee, and young men are looking up to this guy. Okay? Mm-hmm. And if you don't like it, then don't take the millions of dollars that an American company is paying you, right, to represent not only their team spirit, all right? Because part of team spirit, you played sports.
Grandpa, I got to talk to you for a second.
All right, go ahead.
The people that sponsor him, and he is right on this, when they really tear this apart, he will be a legend for just doing that. Just like Muhammad Ali in his time because he had to stood down, and his people. It's not only his kind of people; it's all kinds of people through slavery, and he thinks the song is BS.
Okay, so now we're going to go back hundreds of years, or 100 years of professional sports, and now, it's like the whole Redskin name, okay, that people were offended by that. There's lots of things that offend me on a daily basis. And you know what? If I made an issue out of it, people would be saying, you're ridiculous. And I'm not paid to represent a team. I'm not paid to, represent a higher standard. Because let's face it, people that play professional sports are there because they represent the so-called very best there is in that sport, right?
Correct. But he's gambling. So, like, if this works out for him, he'll be a legend, or he'll be just a goof.
Okay. So here's the other side of this, which you brought out, that he is Muslim,
yes.
right? He's Muslim American.
That's what his own people said, that he was Muslim. And they said
his own people, his representatives,
his race people.
Which his race are what?
Well, he's like
is
white.
He black?
They called him Obama. They didn't call him black.
Okay,
they called him Obama.
So he's mixed
right?
race.
That's what they said, Obama. Yeah.
So he's mixed race.
Yeah, but they always say black and whatever. But
So anyway, how many years has this guy been playing?
I'd say about 6 to 8.
Okay. And now why all of... Aunt Jean, what do you think about it? Aunt Jaja, what do you think about this? Yes, I'm going to ask you. What do you think?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the Muslims and what they do and say and blah, blah.
What Muslims do and say, right?
His 2 cents put in.
But the religion really has nothing to do with Muslims, because fanatical Muslims hate Muslims. They hate us.
Right.
They hate everybody. So just got to get that straight.
So let's go back to something we talk a lot about on this show: personal responsibility, social responsibility. Now, when people find out if this story is true that he is Muslim, this has nothing to do with him being a Muslim.
Yeah,
this is his personal choice as an American to sit out the Star Spangled Banner. Now, here's the problem with that. One, he's paid a professional wage to play a sport, not make a political statement. That's where our personal politics get us in trouble. And again, taking a play out of Grandpa Clarence Struss's book.
You're old school.
I still think that there's certain topics that we cannot talk about, all right?
Agreed.
Because we're never going to agree to them.
We'll never agree.
Now, was his statement more of a personal choice? Now, this is where the conundrum is. Was it a personal choice, or was it a political statement? Now, when the rest of the world in media finds out that he indeed is a Muslim, there's going to be the spin that, oh, look, see, he's representative of the Muslims that don't like America. And I don't think that's really what he's...
But his own people
But
said.
could it be interpreted by the average Joe American who may be a fan of his as saying, oh, well, that's what Muslims think of America? And that's not true.
He went to school in Utah, so I mean, like,
Are you sure he's not a Mormon?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. But we're in the land of the free. You can do what you want, but you better accept the consequences for your actions.
All right.
Also, they were dogging Jim Brown. They were dogging a lot of the people that were dogging him, and he should. Jim Brown says he didn't like the way that he went about it. So I can see that because, Jim Brown was a classy guy, and he knew what he could do.
Jim Brown is who?
Jim Brown was a football player, number 32.
What team?
The Browns. He was like the
Cleveland?
Yes, Cleveland. And Elvis's favorite football player, but that's something else. But he said he should have went about it a different way, because you can speak sometimes without saying anything or making a big statement. And, well, let's see what happens.
Okay, so this is from...
Third verse of the Star Spangled Banner. You listen
and the Rockets' red glare?
No, that's the third verse. They took it out because it was a slavery issue with that, being tormented.
Personally, I'm just sick of all the shit. I'm sick of all this bullshit on race and everything else. And how is it all of a sudden that we are back to square one in the 60s when we have a black president?
Correct.
We are worse under this president, and I'm not even going to say this president, but you would think that having an African-American president would have said, okay, wow.
The Monkees got a song about Obama. He's a little bit you.
The Monkees, the group.
He's a little. Monkees, the group. Oh, he's a little bit you. Oh, he's a little bit me. So he's not 100% black, but you know,
And the point
he's
in,
half white.
right, and one would
Not
think
saying
that
that he's. I'm sorry.
it doesn't matter. I mean, when it boils down to it, I don't care if like Lester Holt on NBC News. Yes, we will go to the break in a minute. Lester Holt on NBC News is the first African American. Okay, he's the first black major anchor. No, he's not. Max Robinson, back in the
What
70s
about the
and
Latinos?
80s. And the Latinos, but it's like, why are we getting to, it's the first Latino. Then it's
I
gonna
never
be,
heard first Latino.
We are so into
Barely.
labels here. We're so into labels, and that to me is the problem. And it's like, oh well, I don't have an equal opportunity. Yes, you do. People with no money have insurance.
Correct.
I work 2 jobs. I don't have health insurance. I shouldn't be saying that on television, but that's the truth. I'm like a lot of Americans that don't have health insurance. But yet, if I decide to not work, I can have it all, as you can. When we come back with more taboo topics after this. No, I don't want to push your stool up. Okay, anyway, we are back. Come back. And we're talking about...
You might lose that stool.
We're talking about a little bit of social responsibility when it comes to personal expression.
We got to first go back and cover our ass, because
Okay.
this wasn't about his religion. It
Right.
was just that's
We're
what
talking about
We're talking about
Colin
a man. Colin Kaepernick.
Kaepernick,
Yeah.
who is an African-American football player for the San Francisco 49ers. He sat out the Star-Spangled Banner. Most people would be like, whoop-de-doo or whatever. Now, I don't know. I think personally, a lot of the problems in our society stem back to not only the home, but school, where we used to have to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Why did we say the Pledge of Allegiance? It was for our freedoms, that the people in the military are, and
That fought for, died for.
right. And in our lifetime now, like when we were growing up in first, second, third grade, we really, Vietnam was over. And that really wasn't even observed probably until after we were out of high school.
Yep.
Those guys, those men and women came back with serious mental issues and were never observed or honored for their sacrifices, because it was supposed, if you talk to an old Vietnam vet,
There's no Dr. Phil back then.
there was no Dr. Phil, and there really was not a lot of research on PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. These men and women, and we don't hear about the women that served in Vietnam, came back and were pretty messed up. And if you talk to a Vietnam vet back from the 80s, when I did, they would say it was not a war, it was a police action. And so in our lifetime,
We're seeing a lot of that.
now, what was the next major war for us was when we were like 23, 24, it was Desert Storm.
Desert Storm.
And
Kuwait.
then the whole thing after 9/11, which I think is personally about oil, but I could be wrong on that. So anyway, when we sit down and we're paid a lot of money for our, we're paid a lot of money to represent, and I think part of professional sports is representing a certain value, American values. What are some of the American values? Respect. I think there's a religious overtone or a spiritual overtone, that one nation under God. Well, I don't believe in God. You don't have to believe in God. But face the facts. I face the facts that our country was founded on Christian, Judeo-Christian values, okay? What's in that word? Christ. All right? We respect that Christianity values. All right? That's what we were founded on. Now we have people coming from other countries.
And killing Indians.
And killing Indians.
But,
now,
I mean,
do we
yeah.
agree with any of this stuff? I don't know. This is history. This is part of our history.
If the Indians probably didn't get messed with, and the white guys didn't get or whoever came over to China and all that stuff, it'd probably been okay. But when you go kill a family, or it's an eye for an eye.
And here's another thing: when we get hired for a job, it's because we bring something to the table, whether it's a skill, whether it's our personality, whether it's a work ethic, values. All right, that's part of, I think, Christianity. Values,
Yes.
honesty, integrity, openness, all of these things that also kind of spin into 12-step work: honest, open, willing. But we're not seeing that in our politics today.
We're all selfish.
We're selfish. And then here
We're
you
weak.
have, and we are weak, because you know what?
We're weak.
What I have found is that, and it was funny, I worked with a gentleman from China, and I'll never forget, his name was Kenny, and I was selling cars, and he's like, and I think he was a professor at one time, Greg, you have to understand, companies rise to their lowest level of incompetence. Who are the people that become managers typically? They're the people that don't have the, okay, they're not the people that are blessed with the most intelligence in most cases, right?
They outweighted their godfather.
And so, you work for the man all your life thinking you're going to, and maybe that's another racist term when we say we work for the man, and it's not meant. That's another thing that's in our, that we work for other people. We can work for women, but it's like working for...
The man, I understand what the man is, because he's got a tail and he's got 2 ears. Points or horns.
Yes. So anyway, this comes back to this gentleman, the Christ School Greenies. This is a group in North Carolina. I don't know which part it is. They made it to the state final season, and the push is on again. So at this particular practice, the Star-Spangled Saga of Kaepernick came up, and this is what one of the players said. I believe he has the free right to express what he believes, but it's definitely something I would not do ever, because I think it's a sign of respect for people that fight for that right. Now, this comes from the Christ School junior, Gabe Blevins. I thought that's kind of interesting. So you figure he's in high school, he's got a junior, maybe 16, 17 years old.
His family believes in, God, red, white, and blue.
I think I've always learned how you should stand. Put your hand on your heart, that's what you do. So Davis Oliver said, but he's a man of his own opinion and his own beliefs, but yeah, I would definitely be one to stand, especially if I want to cash that $1 million check.
That's your choice in this country. And when somebody starts taking everything away, your iPhones ain't going to save your ass. You better have a rock.
So I like what the coach said. The head coach, it's not about being an individual, and that personal beliefs need to stay off the field. I think this is where I'm coming from.
Yep. I understand that.
Okay.
Yep.
So he says, we preach to our kids all the time that they represent more than themselves, and their actions represent a whole football team. So that's Mark Morris said. Same thing goes for me. If I'm going to protest, I'm going to make sure I'm not going to have a Christ School shirt on. So is he an individual, or is he a member of the franchise? What are you doing?
Is he a minority, or is he the majority? Like, okay, the majority of the people believe in the flag. So this country is democratic. We vote. Everybody who agrees, we usually win. You want pizza or you want a burger? Everybody votes for pizza, you get a pizza.
So coming back to it.
God damn it.
Coming back to it. Is this an individual thing, or is he representing the team? He's representing the team. He's got the shirt on, so that's where the murky area comes in. Are we wrapping for the show, or are we done? Help me out here. Okay. Anyway, I think this was a great dialogue. We heard both sides of the issue, I think.
I brought some information today, brother.
I love it. We got to get those guys from
the Bare Naked Truth.
The
Butt Naked Truth.
Butt Naked Truth. Yeah, maybe they'll come on.
They will.
Anyway, I had a lot of fun tonight, and I hope you did too. What else is going on?
Bare Naked Truth. No, Butt Naked Truth.
Butt Naked Truth. What station is it on?
AM 1570 Hardin.